Hi, I'm James Tanner. I do a blog called Genealogy Star. I'm here with Yuval Ben-Galim, who is one of the chief officers of MyHeritage, known as MyHeritage.com. And we're going to be talking about some new products, some new services that they've provided. And so we'll go back directly over to Yuval for that information.
Yeah, so hi James.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Now we'll talk.
Okay. And so my name is Yuval. I'm the COO, Chief Operating Officer for MyHeritage. I'm excited to be here at RootsTech and wanted to extend a great thank you for Family Search for organizing this great conference. And it's been an exciting event. And I'd love to tell you more about MyHeritage.
Yeah, this morning there was in the keynote, we talked about some new products that might be out. Why don't we talk a little bit about the family trees and smart matching? Let's explain what that is and how it works a little bit.
Okay, wonderful. So like many other sites out there for genealogy, we have trees that you can build online or on your desktop and sync between the two of them like any other software. And you
have a desktop product too.
Yes. So we are across all the platforms. We have a desktop platform software. It's called Family Tree Builder. We have our website, myheritage.com, and we have a mobile app that is also called MyHeritage, and you can actually work on each one of those platforms and sync the information. Actually, the upcoming version of Family Tree Builder will have that enhancement enabling you to actually work on any other platform of your choice. So you can do your research at home or in the library, and it will all come together to the same database and same results.
So if I were working on my iPhone and I found something, I put something in here on the app, then that would go to the tree, to the website
immediately, and so you can be working in a family reunion. And you just hear a nice story, and you get another piece of information, a birth date that you didn't know of, or a far relative that you weren't aware of, and you can add them to your tree on the spot right there.
And then that would, after it's uploaded to the Family Tree online, then when I open my program on my computer at home, it would download to that.
Exactly.
So I don't have to worry about synchronizing this device and plugging it into my computer or anything else.
Right. Seamless.
Okay, and once that data is in there in the program online on your Family Tree online, then what happens to that data? How does that?
Right. So MyHeritage is basically a forest of millions of trees. We have over 27 million trees in our databases, and once you enter your information and your family's information into our database, it's immediately in the background is going to go through a set of algorithms that search and match those people to other trees on MyHeritage. And then eventually it will connect those two individuals and help you with your research. So not only is that a great way to break through those brick walls, once you have that connection, you can actually you get more information on that individual, but also maybe find an entire branch that you were not aware of. And that's what makes it exciting.
And if I'm understanding what you're saying, if I have a great-grandfather on the tree, then someone else puts up that great-grandfather on their tree, it's going to show me that those two people are the same person. And how do they know it's the same person?
So that's we've been working hard on that and finding the right algorithms to do that. And we're very lucky that Gilad, our CEO, is a genealogist himself, plus another group of other genealogists. We actually look at the way they work and look how they conduct their research and how a genealogist reaches the conclusions he reaches, and we're trying to simulate that in the matching technology.
So my understanding is that you would look not just at my grandfather, but you would look at his father or his grandfather.
So we're looking at all the information that we can actually find there. So we're looking at your grandfather and the details and the events and facts that we know about him, but also, like you mentioned, his close family, and as far off as we can to actually confirm and bring the confidence of those matches to a very high level, and we currently run at a 97% confidence level.
Yeah, and I would have to agree, because my personal experience is that it's very, very high. I mean, I haven't even I found one today that you could call a false positive, but that's the first one I found since last year, so, I would say that's pretty high positive.
Yes, we're very proud of the work that we've done there, and of our team of both genealogists and engineers that work together closely to reach that level of quality. Now, what's special with Smart Matches is that it actually not only brings you more information, but also connects you with the researcher who added your grandfather on his tree. So you're also getting more facts and more information into your tree, but you're also creating a network of researchers, genealogists that you can communicate with and work together to find even more additional findings.
Now, where did all these family trees come from? What part of the world are we talking about? I mean, it's definitely not an American company.
Right.
It doesn't come from the United States.
Yeah, MyHeritage is based out of Israel, and as such, we from day zero had a global approach. Our software is translated today to over 40 languages across the globe. So we have users from you name it, over 200 countries. Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Asia, Australia, South America, North America. There isn't a country on the globe that we don't have a set of users using our software and enjoying Smart Matches.
Yeah, and so if one of my patrons at a family history center or someone came in and their ancestors came from Eastern Europe, would that be an appropriate?
That would be actually a great place to start off with, because a lot of the issues we're hearing from users that use other softwares is that they're more focused on the English-speaking world, where our technology and our ability to translate to over 40 languages is actually something that we leverage and we use also within the smart matching technology. So you can be writing your grandfather's name, Alexander, in English on your tree. We'll know to look for the word Sasha, that's how you say Alexander in Russian, in the Russian trees, and bring you that smart match, although his first name is spelled completely different, but we understand that it's actually the same first name.
Now, one of the problems, of course, using and looking at user trees is a lot of people don't have sources. They don't tell you where this information came from. And I understand, and I've used a program called record matching. So where does that fit into this?
So the second pillar after you're building your tree is to fill in those facts and have sources and citations to those sources to validate those facts. And so we have launched over a year ago a database of records that we have acquired, and on top of that we have developed a search engine that we call Super Search that enables any user to go into that search engine and look up the records of interest. But we also took it to the next step, and we leveraged our smart match technology that we talked about just a few minutes ago, and use that same technology to actually take those records and find matches to your tree. So you can use records on MyHeritage in two ways. One, like the traditional way, where you search it, get all the results, and go over the different results till you find the results that you're interested in. Or you can actually import your tree onto MyHeritage, and then in the background, we'll do all the work with record matches and bring to your tree records that we believe that are the records of those individuals. So instead of searching for records, the records come looking for you.
And I guess speaking from my own personal experience, for example, I ended up with almost 495 records out of Find a Grave. So it takes everybody in if I'm understanding this, it takes everybody in your whole pedigree line, everybody you put online, and looks up everybody.
Indeed. Anything you put on our site, it will look him up and search all our collections. We're happy to say that we're adding more and more collections all the time. So everyone has 1940 census. We're now, in the beginning of April, going to add to that all the U.S. censuses. So once they're in there from 1870 till 1930, once you have them online, you'll also be rewarded with record matches for all those censuses, as well as additional global records that we're adding from Eastern Europe.
If as a genealogist you've had this to-do task that said, look up this family in the U.S. Census, if you have them on MyHeritage, you're going to get them all looked up.
They're going to come to you.
Yeah, in other words, you'll go look up everybody in every United States Census from 1790 to 1940.
Till 1940.
Okay, that sounds like a great time saver, if you ask me.
That's the idea. We're looking to adding a lot of automation to the researcher's work to save him that critical time, and then use that very valuable time to actually validate the matches we find and migrate the information from the record into your profile.
Okay. But previously, that's basically where it ended. In other words, you'd have the record match, you'd be able to have the record there in front of you, but that's the end. That would be the end of the road. You'd be in the end of the cul-de-sac or whatever. What now have we got that from MyHeritage that, as genealogists, do we have that might help us further than that?
Yeah, so that's true. So Record Matches was launched last year, and we've been receiving great feedback on it. And we were thinking, what's the next step? How can we help do that step further? And then what we're adding in the beginning of April, will be launched on our site, is a new feature that will enable you, after you confirm a record match, after you have a record that we recommend to tie it with a specific individual, you can save that record to that individual's profile page, and more than that, we'll actually show you that record details, the fields from the record, against the profile fact, and you can then compare the two and copy seamlessly that information into your into that individual's profile and add more facts and correct birth dates that were missing, places of residence that might have been missing that show up from that record. So you don't need to do that manual work anymore. It's really one against the other, field after field. In the click of a button, you fill the information and move to the next record. And
then what happens to those records if I've integrated those records in with my individual? My understanding is that then the program will go out and look for more records.
Yes, so actually it's a cycle that feeds itself. So because if we find a birth certificate and you copy an exact birth date to that individual, that extra information might be the missing information that will match new records that before we weren't confident enough to call them as a correct match. So that the process feeds itself, and all this is going to be launched, like I said, in the beginning of April, just a few weeks from today.
And so how many records could you get? I mean, is there some limit out there?
It matters how much information you have on your tree, but at the moment, like you said from your own experience, we're providing more records than possibly
than we have time
to process and go over them.
Oh.
And we're getting remarkable feedback again on the accuracy of those matches.
Right now, where are most of your records centered? I mean, what if people came from Africa or came from Asia? Are you thinking about trying to get records in those areas? Or?
Yes, we have a team that's whole purpose is actually to go out there and look for records right now, especially from Europe, Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, the Scandinavian countries. We're looking for records in Australia, in South Africa. We're trying to reach the globe in respect to records, because that's where we feel that there's missing information and data that can actually help our users that migrated from Europe to across the ocean to the United States or other parts of the world.
And I mean, we're here at a Family Search Conference, and I'm sure everybody's heard about Family Tree. You have another family tree in a program called Genie, is that correct?
Right, so MyHeritage in essence is a private tree. It's a site where you can manage your private tree and work on your research and you don't need to share it with others. Whereas Genie has a different approach, which is a collaborative tree, where we're leveraging the power of the crowd to actually enhance the research and expedite the research. And it's different strokes. Different things fit different people. You have your genealogists that want to validate their information on their own and make sure that their work is accurate, and only then publish it. And you have the people that enjoy doing the research together and want to do that effort in a collaborative effort and reach those conclusions as a group. So we're basically allowing both streams to work together. We're also on Genie that we acquired just a few months ago. We're adding those same capabilities of record matching and saving records to those profiles on Genie profiles. So also Genie users that enjoy the collaborative effort will also enjoy these enhancements that we're introducing both on MyHeritage and on Genie.
I think it'd be helpful to explain perhaps the user levels, because we know this is a subscription site.
Right.
And so you do on MyHeritage, there is a free section up to so many families on your tree.
But both sites have a freemium model, meaning that if you're a new user, you can come and you enjoy all the functionality up to a certain level. Once your tree size grows over 250 individuals, then we'll prompt you to buy a subscription. But by then you'll already be familiar with MyHeritage and smart matching, record matching, and all those capabilities, and we're sure you'll find it worth your $1.
And if you can get your tree expanded, isn't there a data package or something that you could purchase in addition, which gives you all of the extra information?
Yeah, so that's regarding the trees. You buy a site package, and if you want to work on your tree in a different software that you're already familiar with, but you still want to enjoy our records database, you can buy separately a data package and then enjoy the capabilities of super search and record matches.
Okay, so that would just add that instead of that gives you capability of copying this information off to other sources, off to your own program or whatever. Right. And I guess the question is there going to be any possibility of having those records, some kind of connection between something like Family Search Family Tree and MyHeritage? Is there any way to those two?
Those are things we are exploring. We believe that like with Genie, that the future of genealogy is with collaboration. We believe that collaboration is not only with the end users but also with the different companies that are in our industry, and we're working on ways that where we can integrate and share these features and these capabilities with our partner competitors in order to push the whole industry forward and push the envelope to the future that's lying ahead.
Well, let's kind of talk a little bit about a hypothetical. Let's say that I'm a new user. I've never had an online tree before. Mm-hmm. What would I do to get started? How do I get into this thing?
So that's MyHeritage's vision for the future is to actually to bring family history to the masses. We really want this to become a community and something that not every one person in every extended family does genealogy work, but to actually bring it to every household. And in order to do that, we're working very hard on bringing these tools and simplifying them and making them very attractive to the novice user. So the best way to start is by building your tree. And then these tools of automation and collaboration will just lead the way.
So they'll just sort of kick in. You don't have to do anything.
It's as easy as adding yourself, your parents, your grandparents, and at some point you'll start getting smart matches and record matches, and that will evolve on its own and hopefully convert these users into family
Interestingly
historians.
enough, I got smart matches on myself. We were surprised. I'm going through this, and I find the wedding announcement in the newspaper, from 45 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty interesting. I didn't expect to see that.
By the way, record matches on MyHeritage is the only technology that knows how to search free text, and that includes newspapers. And bring record matches also from newspapers, yearbooks, and so on. Yeah,
so if you have a newspaper site, like the newspaper archives that you have, mm-hmm. then it searches all the text in the whole newspaper. We search for your person.
For that person. And again, we're also there. We use those same thumb rules that any genealogist would use, and we know how to find that newspaper and also then validate that that newspaper is relevant for that individual. So if a person was born and died in Australia, and we have a match for his name in a newspaper in Eastern Europe, we won't bring that match up because it's not valid. It's not a valid match. It's very rare and unlikely that he resided that same person resided in Eastern Europe.
And it's interesting you mentioned Australia because I've got relatives in Australia. It's part of my family came through Australia to the United States. So
yeah, we have a big user base out down under.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of contact with the Australian community because of that, because my interest in, and I've had relatives, corresponded with relatives and everything in Australia. They weren't transported people; they immigrated. No, I'm not kidding. I don't know. They understand what the Australians. The Australians understand that. For a long time, I did think that my ancestors in the United States were transported, but I think we have evidence now that they might have actually come. They probably were transported, but they were transported for their religious beliefs. They kicked them out of England, so I think that's how it happened. Where do you see MyHeritage going from here? What do you see as the future?
We have a long roadmap, and like I said, our vision is to actually take these very advanced research tools that genealogists like to use and make them accessible to the wide audience by simplifying these tools, by providing a better user experience, a funner experience. We have ideas of enhancing these tools, taking record matches that we've talked about, and not only enabling you to copy the information from those records into your individual's profile, but also helping those tools find new members in your tree and actually add new individuals into your tree. So that's one direction. Another direction that we're exploring now is enhancing other platforms. Mobile, the iPhone, the iPad, the Android.
And you know this little symbol here on the back of my iPhone, and we're always interested to find out if they're going to get into Apple someday.
Yes, so that is where young people are working today. So we have to bring our tools and our functionality to them through these platforms. Yeah. So those are the different directions that we're looking at the moment.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Talking to you today. That was great.